Hey everybody, welcome to What's Up Wednesday. It's hard to believe that this is the last What's Up Wednesday of August and the 35th What's Up Wednesday that we've already filmed this year. Um, I thought for this week we could talk about something that I think that probably all safety professionals can relate to, and that's the fact that relying on direction of working safely, being careful, things like that. Uh, it's very tricky in our profession. I know you hear at the end of a safety meeting or before a crew goes out to work, you hear somebody say, "Hey, be safe," or "Be careful," or "Work safely." But we know from our profession that that's not a plan. And this became a discussion topic in a meeting I was in last week, and the idea that really we need standard operating procedures and we need direction on how to do things. We cannot really rely upon people's discretion or quote unquote common sense to be able to perform work safely. And I think that this makes our jobs challenging. That's one component of it. I think another component of it is we're always dealing with an element of complacency in workers. And I know I've talked about this before, but I believe that workers become desensitized to hazards. And when I say that, I can offer individual perspective that I worked as a union laborer between 1989 and 1992. And once upon a time, I worked on a major project where we were building floating pontoons for the I-90 floating bridge across Lake Washington. When I first arrived at that site and a crane flew a skip box or a load of rebar or something over my head, I heard it, I looked up, and I made sure I wasn't underneath the load. After a while, I really didn't hear that horn anymore. I just went about my day and did my work, became very desensitized to those hazards. Now, when there was a new hazard or maybe it was a fall hazard or something else, I was very sensitive to it. But I think in general, our workforce can become desensitized very quickly and kind of lose sight of risk. And when we say, "Hey, go out there, be careful, be safe today," that isn't a plan. And I think, and I've said it many times, I believe planning is the key to success. Planning drives production, it drives quality work, it drives safety. And the simple tool that most of us use is a job hazard analysis, job safety analysis, pre-task planning tool, whatever you want to call it. It's basically a planning process where we take a look at the work we're going to be performing and we develop a safe way to perform that work by identifying the hazards, the tools that we need, etc. So, when we think about the be safe, work safely motto or direction that we and our supervisors give to the workforce, I think that's a very dangerous thing. And I'm sure a lot of you agree with me that we really need to develop process around that tools. When I do fatality reviews and accident reviews, oftentimes in the causal analysis, it's very clear that there was not a standard operating procedure. There wasn't a JSA. There wasn't a risk assessment done. And maybe it was just going to take a minute, and as a result of somebody utilizing their discretion, a mistake was made, an SOP wasn't followed, and an accident occurred. So let's think about that. The whole idea of telling people to work safely or be safe, it's not enough. We have to focus on processes, standard operating procedures, JSAs, things like that. We have so many tools in our tool bag, so to speak, that we can use, and we have to constantly remind people that they're there. Not only that, but it seems like we have to very repetitiously remind people of the basics. And we have to, again, keep that in the forefront of their mind because people become desensitized, they become complacent. And if we're not there constantly reminding them of the risk, reminding them to plan, reminding them to be looking ahead and following the SOPs, we're going to see accidents. So, to build strong culture, we need to drive it. and that is an ongoing effort that never really stops. So hopefully you can relate to that, and we'll see you next Wednesday.